Hello guys, welcome to another interesting problem in the series of coding. It's called check array formation through concatenation. We are given an array of distinct integers array and an array of integer array pieces where the integers in pieces are distinct, and our goal is to form array by concatenating the arrays in pieces in any order. However, we are not allowed to reorder the integers in each array pieces. Okay, and we have to return true if it is possible to form the array from pieces, otherwise we have to return false. So let's get started. So for example, in the first case we have pieces 85 which is fitting perfectly in our array, so it is true. Let's go over to the next example. So we have a piece 88 which is fitting exactly here, and we have another piece 15 that is also fitting as a part of the array, so we have to return true in this case also. Let's go over to the next case. So in the next case we have 16, 18, 49 as an entire piece which is glued together. So let's see if we can find this entire piece in the input array. So we cannot find this entire piece. Okay, so let's try to understand this. So if we had this array which we have right now, which is 49, 18 and 16. Okay, so this is the array that we have right now, but we needed the entire piece 16, 18, 14. But after 16 we can see that we have nothing, right? It is empty, so we have only the first part of the piece. If after 16 we had elements like 18 and 49, okay, here, and suppose we didn't have this bracket and we had this entire piece 16, 18, 49 that we are able to observe in pieces, so this entire piece would have been together, then we would have returned true. And of course these elements would not have been that, then we would have returned true, but this is not the case, so we have to return false. Let's go over to the next example. So in the next example we have a piece 78 that is fitted perfectly here. We have next pieces 4 and 64 that is also fitted perfectly, and then we have 91, so this piece is also fitting perfectly here, so we can return true in this case. Okay, so let's move over to the logic of the code. So let's see what we can do. So in this case what we will do is we'll take an example. Okay, suppose let's see if we have 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, and let's say we have 5 also. This is our array. Okay, and suppose we have our pieces array that is going to be something like 2, 3, and then we have 4, 5, and then we have 1. Okay, so this is our pieces array, and this is our actual array that we have to form. So let's see in this what we'll do is we will start with iterating over our pieces array. Okay, so we are going to iterate over pieces array and we are going to see the first element, so it is 2. So let's see, 2 is found in the array. Okay, so 2 is found in this array, and this is our pieces array that we are iterating over. So we will, first of all, we need the index of this. Why we need the index of this 2? Because we need to iterate over and we need to check if the next element in the pieces array is also going to be equal to the next index. Okay, the next element which is stored at the next index of the same array. So we need to check, for example, 2 and 2 is cancelling here, and then 3 and 3 is cancelling here. That means we know that we have this perfect piece 2, 3. Okay, that is a perfect piece and it's a perfect match, and then we can go over to the next element. So what we will do is our logic is going to be, we are going to create a map. Okay, and we are going to store the index of the elements in the array. So basically what we'll do is, let's try to understand this properly. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to create a map. So I'm going to create a map which is going to store the index of each element so that I have that in handy. So a map will point, okay, each of the element of the map is going to point to its own index, and I have created this map. Now what I will do is I have my pieces array, and I'm going to start iterating over the pieces array, and I'm going to first find the index of the map. Okay, first I'm going to for example check the first element 2, and I'm going to find its index. So I can see that it has an index of 1. Okay, and I will check these two elements. So these two elements are same, so then I will go over to the next element. So I will check in the next index of map. So I have 3, that is equal to this 3 in this pieces array. Okay, so I have completed my pieces part. If I had not completed this pieces part, suppose if I had 2 3 6, okay, then the next element, which is 6, is not equal to the next element, which is here, which is 4. So in this case I will return false. Okay, so I will return false in this case, because this 6 is not equal to this 4. Otherwise, I can return true in this case. Okay, I can also have another case. Let's try to see what will be that another case where I'll have to return false. So let's go over to the next part of the pieces array. So I have 4 that is at index 3. So now I have hold of this index, so I can keep checking after this index. Okay, and I will check 4 is equal to 4. I will go over to the next item. So 5 is equal to 5, and I've reached the end of both the pieces array as well as the uh, array over which we are iterating. So that is fine. But suppose if in place of this 4 comma 5 I had some other element, let's say I had 4 5 6. Okay, then in that case what would have happened is, I will have to return false, because after this 5 we don't have any element, and we have not completed the pieces array. So until we complete the whole part of the pieces array, okay, each part we have to iterate completely. So we have to give one case where we if we don't complete the entire part, okay, after this, if we have reached the end of this array, for example in this case, then if we are not at the end of the pieces array, then also we have to return false. Okay, so this is one case that we have to remember to give. And let's go over to the next element in this example. So we have 7, sorry, we have 1 here, so this is 1. Suppose this is also 1, that means we find the next part also, and we have found all the pieces which are matching correctly, and in this case we can return true. So let's get started with the logic is done. So let's get started with the implementation of the code. So what we'll do is we'll initially declare a map. So map int comma int m, and we are going to iterate over all the elements in our array that is given to us. For int I equal to 0, I less than array dot size, I plus plus, and we are going to store the elements along with their indices so that we can later refer to them. So this is what I have done in this part of the code, and let us move forward. So now I will start iterating over each part of my pieces array. So let me get started with this for loop, and what I will do is initially I will store this size. So int n is equal to part dot size. So I will have each part's size, and I will also check for the presence of the first element of my part. Okay, so which index it is present at, that I will have to check. So I will check that. So in m, that is in my map, I am going to search the first element of each part. Okay, and that is going to return the index to me of wherever that element is present in the particular array. Okay, now I can start a while loop. So while, okay, I is going to be less than n, so I will have to declare I. So int I is equal to 0. So while I is less than n, so I is a iterator, so I'm going to loop over till I reach the end of the part, and I am also going to check until I reach the end of the array, and index is less than equal to array dot size. So I can keep iterating over in that case, and I can keep increasing the iterators value. So I plus plus and also index plus plus, and I can also check now if I am having the values equal for each, okay, part. So if part of I is not equal to array of index, if any case I find values that are not equal, then in that case I can return false. So this is one case where we will have to return false. Okay, so let's go over. And after coming out of this while loop, I can also check if I is not equal to part dot size. Okay, so if I is not equal to part dot size, that is I is not equal to n, so we had checked that case also. So for example, we had this case where we had 4 comma 5 comma 6. Okay, so we will reach the end of the array if we are iterating over, and we will find only 4 and 5, but we will still have an element 6 which is not part of the array. So in such cases, what we will have to do is we'll check if I is not equal to n, then we can return false. So there are only two false cases that we will have to check. If at any time the elements are not equal while iterating, then we can return false, and if anytime we find such a condition, then also we can return false. Okay, otherwise what we can do is in the end we can return true. So that's it, and I hope that this will work. Let's check and see if it is working. So it is fine for this test case, but let's check and see if it's going to be fine for all the test cases. So yes, it's an accepted solution. Thank you. Please like and subscribe for more such videos.